Okay, I've been on a bit of a flight tonight. I started out with a couple of tall glasses like this of gin to here and tonic to there, um, which was good for cooling me off and getting me primed to start off. Then I had a dram of Johnny Walker Double Black, which I found to be somewhat smoky, but more fruity than smoky. Dark to, medium to dark, and ripe to dried out fruits. Now I have something special that I wanted to try for quite some time. I purchased this in April sometime. What's the date? The 15th, right in the middle of April. So May, June, 2.5 months it's been sitting there collecting dust. And this here is a Gordon MacPhail independent bottling of Linkwood 15-year-old. This one is 43% alcohol by volume and 70 centiliters or 700 mils. It is a product of Scotland. It is a Scotch single malt. And what I was looking forward to about this is that Linkwood is one of the principal components of one of my favorite blends, which is the Johnny Walker Green Label. And here's the bottle of Linkwood from Gordon and MacPhail. That's what it looks like. It's the white label. Now what I'm going to do is open this up and pour a dram. Before I read what it says on the bottle, it says a little bit here on the box. And I also wanted to get my hands on a Gordon MacPhail bottling of Mortlach, but I was a little bit too slow on that one. It may show up again. Who knows? But this was one of the few independent bottlings of Scotch whiskey that I could get locally. And like I said, I was looking forward to trying this one just because of what it is. Okay. It makes the right sounds coming out of the bottle. I poured a little much, but that is not unknown for me. I will take my time with this dram. Once again, here's what it looks like. Okay, so while that's sitting in the glass for a little while, okay, I might as well read the back label here. Here we go. It says, since 1895, Gordon and MacPhail has worked with the majority of Scotland's distilleries, and today matures, selects, and bottles some of the world's finest and rarest single malt Scotch whiskies. Linkwood, 15 years old. This distillery was built in 1821 by Peter Brown. The factor of the Seafield Estates of Moray and Banffshire, and is named after Linkwood House, the family home. Oh, now there's some finer print in italics beneath that saying, the nose reveals pronounced sherry and aromas along with hints of, you know what, I don't care about that. I'm going to tell you what the nose gives me. You may disagree with me if you want, but I don't know. I think it's like cheating, putting nosing and tasting notes on a bottle. Yeah. Well, that does have a fine aroma. I think it needs to open up just a little bit more in the glass before I get to it. Let's pull this little thing out again here. What does it say on this box? It says, established in 1895, the family owned firm of Gordon and MacPhail is custodian to some of the world's finest and rarest single malt Scotch whiskies. And casks owned by Gordon and MacPhail are sent to distilleries throughout Scotland and filled with new make spirit before being left to mature at the distillery or in our warehouses in Elgin. Or is it Elgin? It's Elgin or Elgin? I don't know if it's a hard or soft G. Somebody from Scotland could probably tell me. Today, relationships with distillery owners enables Gordon and MacPhail to bottle a special range of whiskies at various strengths and ages, each with their own distinctive distillery label. Please visit www.gordonandmacphail.com to read more about our approach to single malts. I'm looking forward to trying their Mortlach. I know that Ralphie spoke quite highly of it. And here once again is a look at the Linkwood bottle, 15-year-old from Gordon MacPhail, Speyside. So what are we looking for? Sherry matured. And there's definitely, I'm getting some sherry notes. I'm getting some of those medium fruits. Things like plums and grapes. Might be getting some apple and pear too. But there's definitely some sherry wood influence on this. There's some cherry, maraschino cherry. Maraschino cherry, pear, apple, plum. Oh, the maraschino cherry is just overpowering. Grapes. Very fruity. A very fruity whiskey. Very Speyside fruity whiskey. Let's adjust the white balance to something a bit more tolerable, because I think I'm more photogenic in the dark than I am in the brightness. I know, that's a lame attempt at a joke. Ah, fruity. I actually smell the same. I get the same, or should I say, part of the nose of the Green Label Johnny Walker is a lot like this. But they add things like things like a little bit of Kalila and a little bit of Clynelish to give it some of that waxiness and some of that oily, smoky Kalila kind of thing. This is just fruity. Yeah, this would be like a classic Speyside fruity nose. Can't get enough of that. Well, I should cleanse the palate. despite the oat cake and the water. There's still a little bit of that Johnny Walker Double Black lingering on. Or as Horst Learning would say, lingering on my tasting buds. I couldn't help it. I couldn't resist saying that. Lingering on my tasting buds. Ah. No, that should have taken every last little bit out of there because the dryness just sucks right up. All the fluid, all the saliva out of the mouth so that it can produce new saliva which doesn't have the flavor in there from what you tasted before. I like these Orkney Oat Thins. Here we go. Ah, fruity. Oh. Oh. It's fruity. Very fruity. And a little bit do that again before I say anything. Before I say anything that might incriminate me excessively. Fruity. Sherry and light fruits and medium fruits. Nothing really dried out, just a lot of ripe fruits. Ripe, fresh fruits. Pears, plums, cherries, maraschino cherries. There's some of that sweetness from the maraschino sauce that goes in around the cherries. Ah. Berry notes. There's a bit of raspberry note too. I'm getting some raspberry and some strawberry. Maybe even a little bit of blackberry. Lots of berries and fruits. And heavy berry and fruit flavors from those sherry casks. I don't know what kind of sherry cask they use, but beneath all that fruit on the palate, and it's a fruity extravaganza. It's mouth-watering. It's making my mouth water like crazy. A lot of fruity flavors. But I'm getting a little bit of vanilla beneath all of that. And a little bit of caramel. But to me, the vanilla is more prevalent than the caramel. And then, curiously enough, there is a bitterness on the aftertaste, but it's not an unpleasant bitterness. The bitterness is most likely from European oak that was used in the casks that matured this. I'm guessing The sherry casks had some European oak in it. It's quite nice. It's quite an interesting, it's a summery kind of single malt to drink in summer. A little bit sweet with all the fruits. This to me is the true essence of Speyside. Well, now I'm going to move on in my flight and say sláinte to you all and so on.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Now here's one of those parts that I often forget when I'm tasting whiskey. I forget to tell you how much it costs. Well, I have here the bill of sale from this particular Linkwood 15. And it says here, Linkwood 15-year-old, 0.700, so that's 700 milliliters, or 70 centiliters, as they like to say, $130.34. But don't forget that on top of that $130.34, there's about $6.50 of goods and services tax, and about $12 or $13 of liquor tax. So it's about $150 even. That's a little much, but it's a nice whiskey. So what can I say?